Draw near to me, closer than you have ever come before. What I am about to say is not meant for a crowd. It is not meant to echo through an empty hall or bounce off the walls of a building. These words are whispered. They are carried gently, deliberately, directly to the place inside you where everything is quiet. Let me tell you what I see when I look at you. I see someone who has carried things they were never meant to carry alone, and who carried them anyway because there was no other choice, because laying them down did not seem like an available option. I see faithfulness that was not recognized by anyone around you, but that was seen by me and recorded in eternity with a permanence that nothing can erase. I see a strength that has been misread as weakness, because true strength does not always announce itself loudly or carry itself with the confidence that the world recognizes as strength. I see a gentleness that has been misread as inability, because people who only understand force do not know what to make of someone whose power expresses itself through patience and care. I see a patience that has been misread as passivity, because the world moves at a speed that does not know what to do with someone who trusts a timeline deeper than the urgent. I see the truth of who you are, and the truth is far more powerful, far more beautiful, far more significant than anything the world has labeled you or that you have accepted as your identity in the weak and weary moments. I declare over your life in this moment that the seasons of invisible labor are ending. The seasons of pouring out without receiving, of working without recognition, of trusting without visible evidence, of planting without yet seeing the harvest, of believing in the face of all the things that seem to argue against belief. Those seasons have built something in you that is about to change everything. What was planted in secret is about to bloom in the open. What was prepared in the hidden place is about to be displayed in the visible world. What you cultivated in the quiet years, all of it. The faith that held on by its fingernails, the love that kept showing up even when showing up was exhausting, the hope that refused to die even when dying seemed like the only rational option, is about to produce a harvest that will astonish even you. People around you who did not understand what you were doing during the quiet season will watch what unfolds now and begin to understand. They will see the fruit. They will see the vindication of every choice you made when those choices were hard and unpopular and not yet obviously wise. I declare that the foundations of your life are unshakable. Every force that has tried to destabilize what I have built in you and around you, every voice that has whispered that you are on the wrong foundation, every thought that came to undermine your sense of stability, every circumstance that was arranged to make you feel like the ground beneath you could give way at any moment, I declare that they have failed. The structure holds. The foundation is sound. My word holds. My covenant with you holds. What I have promised over your life is not subject to negotiation, not subject to the conditions that your circumstances seem to impose, not subject to the vote of anyone who has opinions about what you deserve or what your future holds. I am the one who decides what happens in your story, and I have decided in your favor. From before the beginning, the verdict was already in your favor. Nothing that has happened since then has changed that verdict. I declare that peace is your inheritance, not peace that is borrowed from good circumstances and returned when the circumstances change. Not peace that depends on everything going according to the plan you made, that evaporates when the plan falls apart, that requires the cooperation of factors outside your control. I declare a peace that lives inside you independent of what is happening outside you. A peace that holds when the news is hard. A peace that holds when the conversation is difficult and the words come out wrong. A peace that holds when the future is unclear and the road ahead cannot be seen, and the map you were following no longer matches the territory you are walking through. This peace is not something you manufacture by thinking the right thoughts or performing the right spiritual exercises. This peace is something I give. It passes understanding. It does not make sense by the logic of the visible world. It is the peace of someone who knows they are held by a hand that cannot fail, who knows they are loved by a love that cannot end, who knows they are walking toward a destination that has been prepared with care. And I am giving this peace to you right now, as these words reach you. Peace is entering the places inside you that have been held tightly in tension for so long that you have forgotten what it felt like to be relaxed. Peace is reaching the fear that you have kept carefully hidden, the one you have not even named to yourself because naming it felt like it might make it more real. Peace is moving into the room where your worst anxieties have been living and making themselves at home. The room where the worst-case scenarios play on repeat, where the fears about health and provision and relationships and the future take up residence without invitation, and peace is changing the atmosphere of that room, not by pretending those fears are not real, but by being greater than them. I am greater than every fear that has ever come against you. My peace is greater than every anxiety that has ever tried to take up permanent residence in your mind. You are receiving peace right now. Not because your situation has changed, because I am here, and where I am, peace must be. This is my covenant, renewed with you today. This is my promise that I am not making for the first time, but that I am reaffirming, because you need to hear it again in this season, with fresh ears, with this particular weight you are carrying laid out before you. I promised you I would never leave you. That promise has not been revoked. I promised you I would never forsake you. That has never happened, and it will never happen. I promised you that what I have begun in you, I will complete, because I do not begin things I intend to abandon. I promised you that the end of your story is not written by your enemies, not written by your mistakes, not written by the hardest things that have happened to you. I promised you that I hold the pen, and I hold it still. Every word of your story is in my hands, and I write with intention, with love, with a purpose that makes even the most painful chapters ultimately meaningful, ultimately useful, ultimately part of something beautiful. Every good thing I have placed in you since before your birth is still alive. It has not been extinguished by anything you have done or anything that has been done to you. My gifts in you do not expire. My purposes in you do not become void when the circumstances become difficult. My vision for your life does not get revised downward because you have made mistakes. My love for you does not turn cold based on how well you have performed or how consistently you have measured up to an ideal. I am the God who gives and keeps giving, who pours out and keeps pouring, whose generosity is not a resource that runs dry, because it springs from a nature that is itself inexhaustible. You were made on purpose, for purpose, and the purpose I placed in you is still active, still available, still moving toward its fulfillment in your life, regardless of every obstacle that has tried to prevent it. Now I am renewing this covenant today. I am writing it again in the chambers of your spirit, pressing it deeper in than anything that has tried to displace it. I am pressing my seal on this promise, so that when the voices come to tell you it is not real, when the doubts rise to challenge what you have received today, when the circumstances tomorrow seem to argue against what you heard me speak today, you will find that my word has already been established in you so deeply that the challenges cannot displace it. The word I have spoken over you is not made of paper that the rain of difficulty can dissolve. It is written in the substance of eternity. This is sealed, What I have spoken over you today stands. It stands in the natural world and in the spiritual world. It stands through time and through circumstances. It stands because I am the one who spoke it, and I do not speak empty words. I do not make promises I cannot keep. I do not tell you things that are not true. The truth is the only thing I know how to speak. Let me speak about the silence between us, because sometimes the silence feels like distance, and I want you to understand that it is not. There are seasons in our relationship, yours and mine, where you go to find me, and the finding does not feel like you expected, where you reach and you cannot locate the hand you are reaching for, where you pray and the ceiling feels low and the words feel like they bounce back, where you open my word and the words on the page feel flat in a way they did not before. These seasons are real. They happen, and they are some of the most confusing and painful experiences in a life of faith, because they seem to contradict the very thing you have come to count on. They seem to say that I have moved. They seem to say that the relationship has cooled or broken or been suspended for reasons you do not understand. I want to say very clearly that this is not what those seasons mean. Those seasons do not mean I have moved. Those seasons do not mean the relationship has changed. Those seasons are sometimes simply seasons where I am calling you into a deeper kind of faith. A faith that does not require the felt experience of my presence in order to keep trusting. A faith that holds on even in the dark. A faith that says, even when I cannot feel you, I know you are here. That kind of faith, the faith that holds in the silence, is one of the most mature and powerful forms of trust that a human being can develop. And when you develop it, it becomes a foundation that nothing can shake, because it was built without the scaffolding of feeling, and so it stands even when feeling is absent. In those seasons of silence, do not pull back from me. That is the temptation, to interpret the silence as rejection and respond by withdrawing, to stop bringing your needs to me because it feels like bringing them to an empty room. Do not do that. Keep coming. Keep speaking. Keep bringing your needs, your prayers, your gratitude, even your complaints. Even the prayer that says, I do not feel you, and I am struggling to believe this matters. That prayer reaches me, and it matters. The person who prays through the dry seasons is not someone whose faith is weak. They are someone whose faith is doing the hardest and most important work it will ever do. Keep coming in the silence. I am in the silence. I am just asking you to find me by a different means in those seasons, not by feeling, but by choosing. And when you choose me in the silence, you are choosing me at the most fundamental level. You are choosing the reality of who I am over the present experience you are having. And that choice honors me and strengthens you in ways that will be visible when the silence breaks. Let me say something about the future that I want you to carry with you. Not anxiety about it, not the burden of trying to figure out every detail of what comes next before you take the next step, but a particular quality of expectation, a quiet, settled expectation that what is coming is good, that the future I hold for you is not a disaster waiting to happen, that what is ahead is full of things I have been preparing with care. The expectation of good things does not mean denying that difficulty may also be ahead, because difficulty is part of life, but it means orienting your heart toward what I have promised, rather than toward what the worst-case scenario would look like. The enemy wants you to spend your present anticipating your worst fears. I want you to spend your present anchored in my promises. One of those uses your present to create dread about a future that may never materialize. The other uses your present to build the kind of expectation that actually positions you to receive what I am releasing. I know which one I am inviting you into. Hold your future loosely in terms of the specific details. You do not need to know exactly how things are going to unfold in order to trust that they will unfold well. You do not need to see the whole staircase in order to take the next step. Take the next step. Trust me with the one after that, and the one after that. I have never let you fall off the edge of a staircase I told you to climb. I have never sent you somewhere I did not also send provision for. I have never opened a door in front of you and then withdrawn my presence from what was behind it. Every step I have asked you to take, I have also been present for. That is how I work. That is who I am. And it is who I will continue to be in every step that lies ahead of you. My peaceful one, you have always been held. Even in the moments when you felt most unsteady, most uncertain, most afraid, you were held. Even in the moments when you felt most alone, when the silence felt like abandonment, when you reached out and could not feel me anywhere, you were held. The holding never stopped. The love never faltered. The commitment never wavered. You are mine. That is the truest thing about you. More true than any label that has been applied to you. More true than any version of yourself that you have been afraid you might actually be. You are mine. You were made by me, known by me, loved by me, held by me, and nothing in this life, nothing in all of creation, nothing in any realm of existence can change any of those things. This is my covenant renewed. This is my voice spoken clearly over your life in this moment that was prepared for you before time began. This is my promise standing firm, unbreakable, unshakable, rooted in the nature of the one who speaks it. I am with you. I have always been with you. I will always be with you. Before you knew my name, I was with you. Before you could speak a prayer, I was with you. In every season that preceded this one, I was with you. In this season, I am with you. In every season that follows, I will be with you. The foundations of your life are secure in me. The peace I have given you is real, and it is yours. The future I have prepared for you is full of everything I have promised, and I, who promised it, am faithful. I, who began this work in you, will complete it. I, who made the covenant, will keep every word of it. I, who love you, have always loved you, and I will never stop. Let this be declared clearly over you. The words spoken over you in your worst seasons by the voices of discouragement and condemnation and failure, those words do not have the final authority over your life. I do. I am the one who holds the authority over who you are and what your life becomes. And I have spoken differently over you than those voices have spoken. I have spoken words of worth and purpose and love and belonging and destiny. I have declared you chosen, not as an afterthought, not by default, but by deliberate and joyful choice. I have declared your future full of hope, not because of your performance, but because of my promises and my nature and my love for you that does not know how to be anything other than what it is. I have declared that what has been lost can be restored, that what has been broken can be rebuilt, that what has been taken can be returned, that what has been delayed is not denied. I have declared these things over your life, and they stand regardless of what any other voice has said. You are what I say you are. Your future is what I say it is, and I say it is full of everything I made you for. Take this in. I take joy in you. Let me say this again because I know it does not always land the first time, especially in the seasons when you have been measuring yourself against a standard you could not meet and finding yourself lacking. I take joy in you, not in a version of you that is fixed and finished, has arrived at some ideal state. In you, as you are, right now, with all the unresolved things, all the growing edges, all the questions you have not yet answered, all the areas where you are still becoming what you will one day be. I take joy in you in the process, not just in the arrival. I am not waiting for you to be finished before I rejoice over you. I am rejoicing over you now, in this moment, in this season, in this imperfect, in progress, deeply beloved version of you that exists right now. You are worthy of that joy. You have always been worthy of it. The worthiness was never dependent on your achievement. It was given at the moment of your making, and it has never been revoked. So receive this. Receive the joy I have in you. Let it reach the parts of you that have believed you were a disappointment to me. Let it touch the places where you have been convinced that my patience with you has worn thin. Let it move into the spaces where shame has been living, where the old failures have been rehearsed too many times, where the worst things that were ever said about you have been kept like records that need to be regularly reviewed. Let my joy in you displace all of that. Let the truth of how I actually feel about you replace the stories you have been carrying about how I must feel about you. I am not disappointed in you. I am not weary of you. I am not waiting for you to get your act together before I begin to love you properly. My love is here. My love is now. My love is in this very moment. And that love is the foundation of everything else I am saying to you today. Go from this moment carrying something specific. Not just a general sense of having received something good, but something concrete that you can return to when the days get hard and the memory of this moment has faded. Let me tell you about the coming season. I want to give you a picture of what is ahead, not to create false excitement, not to make promises I do not keep, but to orient you toward what I have already decided and what is already in motion. The preparation that has been happening in the hidden place is completing. The formation that has been happening in the quiet seasons is producing what it was meant to produce. The deep roots that were going down during the seasons when nothing was visible above ground are about to support something visible, something sturdy, something that can bear the weight of what I am about to put on it. You are stepping into a new season, not a season where everything is easy, because I do not promise easy, but a season where the things I have promised begin to show up in tangible form, where what you have hoped for starts appearing in your actual daily reality, where my faithfulness stops being something you believe in by faith alone, and starts being something you can point to and name. The provision that has felt withheld is about to arrive, not because circumstances suddenly changed, but because I have been timing the release. There is a right time for everything I do, and the right time for what you have needed is approaching. The doors that have been closed are not going to stay closed indefinitely. I am moving in situations that have felt completely stuck. I am softening hearts that have been hardened against you. I am opening paths that appeared to be blocked by unmovable obstacles. I am working in the background of every situation that concerns you. And what I am doing back there is going to become visible in the front. What has been hidden is coming to light. What has been underground is coming to the surface. Keep returning to the stillness. Keep making space for my voice in the ordinary days. Keep the practice of coming to me before the day fills up with its demands, even for a few minutes, even when the few minutes feel inadequate, even when your mind is still busy with everything else. The practice matters. The returning matters. Every time you choose the stillness, you are choosing me. Every time you choose to start from my presence, rather than trying to get through the day and return to me at the end of it, You are building something in your spirit that will serve you for a long time. You are developing the habit of the anchored life, the life that finds its center in me, regardless of what is happening at the edges. This is the life of peace I have called you to. This is the life I have designed you for, and you are living it, even imperfectly, even on the days when it looks more like struggle than like grace. You are living it, and I am with you in the living of it. My promises over your life are not seasonal. They do not apply only when conditions are ideal. They do not pause during the hard seasons and resume when things improve. My promises are always active, always applicable, always working. On the worst days of your life, my promises are just as true as they are on the best ones. The love I have for you does not fluctuate based on what kind of day it is. The commitment I have made to you does not waver when your circumstances waver. The purpose I have placed in you does not diminish when you feel diminished. All of it stands, all of it holds, all of it persists, because it is grounded in who I am, not in what your life looks like on any given day. Let me speak about the word I have given you, the written word, the living word, the word that has been available to you throughout your life, and that you have turned to in both the seasons of plenty and the seasons of need. There is a reason I gave you my word. There is a reason I preserved it through centuries, through persecutions, through every attempt to silence it or destroy it or discredit it. I preserved it because it is the primary way I speak to you, not the only way, but the primary way. And when you open it and read it, you are not reading ancient history. You are reading living truth that was written with you specifically in mind, that carries within it a capacity to speak directly into whatever is happening in your life right now, with a precision that should astonish you. I know it has astonished you at times. You have been reading, and suddenly, a passage that you have read before stands up from the page and says your name, addresses your exact situation, provides the exact word that your heart needed in that exact moment. That was not coincidence. That was me. I was speaking. My word was doing what I gave it to do. So open it more often. Spend time with it in the quiet, not to fulfill a religious obligation, not to check a box, not because you feel that I will be displeased if you do not, but because what is in it has the power to change what is in you. The word does something when it is taken in regularly. It builds a structure of truth inside you that becomes the frame through which you process everything else. When a lie comes at you, the word in you recognizes it and calls it out. When a fear comes at you, the word in you has a counter word that is more powerful than the fear. When discouragement comes at you, the word in you carries the history of what I have done before and the promise of what I will do again. And discouragement finds less purchase than it did before the word was there. The word builds you from the inside. It is the building material of the inner life that everything else depends on. I want to talk about the way you speak about yourself, because the words you use about yourself matter enormously, more than you may realize. When you speak about yourself with contempt, when you call yourself stupid or worthless or hopeless, when you rehearse your failures out loud or in your mind in language that would not be acceptable if directed at someone you loved, you are agreeing with a voice that is not mine. My voice does not speak about you with contempt. My voice does not rehearse your failures as though they define you. My voice speaks your name with tenderness. My voice speaks your future with hope and expectation. My voice speaks your identity with affirmation of the extraordinary specific person I made when I made you. Begin to notice how you speak about yourself, in the private moments, in the comments you make under your breath when you make a mistake, in the narrative you run in the background of your mind. Notice when that voice sounds like me and when it does not. The voice that degrades you, the voice that diminishes you, the voice that insists on your unworthiness and your inadequacy and your past as though it were still present. That voice is not mine. Reject it. Replace it. Choose to speak about yourself the way I speak about you. You are loved. You are chosen. You are valued. You are capable of far more than you have been allowed to believe. Say so. Out loud if you can. Let your own ears hear you agreeing with what I say about you. Now let me tell you what to do with this peace. Because peace that stays only in the moment of receiving it, and then fades when you step back into the ordinary demands of your day, is not yet fully received. Real peace becomes a foundation you live from, not just a feeling you experience occasionally. Real peace changes the way you make decisions. Real peace changes the way you respond to people who are unkind. Real peace changes the way you hold the uncertainties of life, not gripping them with white-knuckled anxiety, but holding them loosely, trusting that the one who holds your life is more than capable of managing what you cannot. Begin each day by returning to this place. Return to the stillness. Return to the inner room where I dwell, that sacred, quiet place inside you that existed before the day began to make its demands, before the day builds its noise around you, before the worries line up and the to-do list grows, and the world presses in with its relentless urgency. Come here first. Come to me first. Spend time in the quiet before the day begins. Let me orient your heart before the world tries to disorient it. Let me remind you who you are before the circumstances try to tell you who you are. Let me fill you before the day tries to empty you. Starting your day in my presence is not a ritual. It is a realignment. It is how you stay connected to the peace that I have given you, so that when the pressure comes, you are not scrambling to find the peace. You are already standing in it. When the challenges come, and they will come, because challenge is part of the fabric of life in this world. Practice returning to me first. Not panicking. Not immediately reaching for every human source of advice and comfort. Before you have first turned to me. Come to me. Take a breath. Remind yourself that I know about this situation. Nothing about this caught me by surprise. I have already prepared for exactly this. Remind yourself that I am bigger than this thing that feels so large today. I am bigger than the financial worry that feels enormous and immovable. I am bigger than the relationship wound that feels impossibly deep. I am bigger than the health concern that is making you afraid of what comes next. I am bigger than the uncertainty about the future that is stealing your sleep. There is not a single thing in your life that falls outside the reach of my power or beyond the scope of my care. Not one thing. Not the small things that you are embarrassed to even bring to me because they seem too minor to deserve divine attention. Not the large things that feel too massive to believe that anyone could address them fully. Everything in your life is within my reach. Everything is within my care. When you are tempted to react from fear, pause. That pause is where I live. That pause is the space in which my wisdom is available to you. Fear makes poor decisions. Fear interprets situations through a lens of scarcity and threat. Fear speaks words that damage. Fear takes actions that create consequences that then have to be lived with for a long time afterward. But peace sees clearly. Peace speaks with an accuracy that comes from seeing the situation through the right lens. Peace acts with an understanding that comes from a higher perspective. Choose the pause. In that pause, come to me. Let me show you what I see before you commit to your reaction. let me give you a response that comes from my nature, rather than a reaction that comes from your fear. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. This is the most powerful thing you can do in a hard moment. Your faith has moved things. Every prayer you prayed in faith set something in motion. Every time you chose to trust me when trusting felt unreasonable, a door was unlocked somewhere. Every time you spoke my word over a situation when everything seemed to argue against hope, an authority was exercised that the enemy had no answer for. Your faith has been working. You have not seen all the fruit of it. Much of it has been underground, growing in the dark, preparing to surface. But it is there, and it is about to surface in ways you will be able to see clearly with your natural eyes. Steward your faith with care. Guard it as the precious, powerful thing that it is. Give my word more of your attention than you give to the circumstances that seem to argue against it. My word is more real than your circumstances. My promises are more permanent than the pressures you are facing. My faithfulness is a more reliable foundation than anything the visible world can offer. Now, let me talk to you about the people in your life. Because part of receiving this peace and carrying it well has to do with how you navigate the relationships around you, some of which have been sources of deep joy, and some of which have been sources of deep pain. Some of the people in your life have loved you faithfully, have shown up for you, have been hands and voices of my grace to you during your hardest seasons. And I want you to recognize that. I want you to receive that love with gratitude, with openness, without the guardedness that hurt can produce. The kind of guardedness that keeps everyone at arm's length, because letting someone in feels dangerous. The people who have loved you well deserve to actually be let in. They deserve to receive from you the love that you have available to give. Not a rationed and guarded version of it, but the full thing, the generous thing, the love that flows from a heart that has been healed enough to offer it freely. And then there are the others, the ones who have wounded you, the ones who walked away when you needed them, the ones who said things that still echo in your mind years later, the ones who betrayed your trust, who diminished your worth, who treated what was precious in you as though it had no value. I want to speak directly about them because the weight of what they did, if you are still carrying it, is keeping you from walking at full strength into what I have ahead for you. Unforgiveness is a weight that you were not designed to carry. Not because what they did was acceptable. I am not saying it was. I am not asking you to pretend the wound was not real, or that the damage they caused was not significant. I am not asking you to invite people back into your life who will only hurt you again. What I am asking you to do is release the weight of the debt. Forgiveness does not mean what they did was fine. Forgiveness means you are releasing the debt they owe you into my hands and trusting me to deal with it rather than carrying the weight of that ledger yourself. Forgiveness is for you more than it is for them. Forgiveness frees you to move forward without the drag of bitterness, without the heaviness of an unpaid account that you are tracking and they are not. Hand it to me. Let me deal with it. Your job is to walk forward light. I have you. I always have. And every step forward from here is a step we take together, you and I, with my hand in yours and my presence surrounding everything that comes. Amen. If this message touched something real in you today, share it with someone who needs to know that peace is not the absence of storm, but the presence of God inside the storm. There is someone in your world right now who is in a hard season and needs exactly what you just received. Your willingness to share might be the word that turns their anxiety into peace. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so every new message reaches you. Leave a comment below and tell us what part of this landed most deeply in your heart. Your words encourage others more than you know. Type Amen in the comments if you received this peace today. We are grateful you are here.